You can save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com for more information. Heard the voices there. Rich Eisen, noon until 3 Eastern here on ESPN Radio. Dan Orlovsky, Ryan Clark. Of course, Seattle Seahawks winning the Super Bowl. Dallas Cowboys season kicks off today. And a brawl last night in the NBA. Isaiah Stewart of the Pistons, Beef Stew, going to be suspended for a while for leaving the bench and going after Miles Bridges. Jalen Duren involved. A wild brawl last night in the NFL. By the way, quick aside, Orlovsky, who we love, who joins us every Thursday and has phenomenal takes on everything. And you also heard the highlight Seattle Sports 710 there, the Seahawks Radio Network. Greatest redemption story for a quarterback in history. That's an interesting one. I would say Kurt Warner, but I guess it's different kind of redemption from packing groceries to 5 teams. It's a little different. I don't know. I guess it's how you define redemption, right?
Well, here's the thing. Where Sam Darnold was drafted, number 3 overall, especially in a New York market, especially to the Jets to be the savior, and then you quote unquote fail spectacularly and then bounce around. We, not you and I, we as sports fans collectively viewed him as a bust, or we viewed him as a failed quarterback.
No, I did. Just to be clear, I did.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And Kurt Warner almost came out of nowhere and snuck up on everybody. And there were no expectations on his shoulders. It was Trent Green went down. This team we thought had so much talent to compete, but without the starting quarterback, we're going to write him off. Kurt Warner steps in, obviously is unbelievable. The Rams win the Super Bowl. That was more, I remember Kurt Warner was on the cover of Sports Illustrated and the caption said, "Who is this guy?" So I don't know if you can say redemption story when people didn't even know who he was.
Fair.
Whereas Sam Darnold, time and time and time again, even when he won 14 games in a highly competitive division last year, people said, I don't know if he's the guy. So, yes, I think he is far and away the best redemption story we've seen at quarterback in the NFL.
Again, to be fair, throwing myself under the bus, I was that guy that absolutely said I did not believe in Sam Darnold as recently as 3 weeks ago. So I am that guy, and I deserve the egg on my face in a big way. So we heard from Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark, ESPN NFL analyst, was on First Take yesterday and had this to say about Sam Darnold and the amount of NFC quarterbacks he would take ahead of him.
In the NFC, how many quarterbacks I take? I take 8. I take Stafford, Hurts, Purdy, Mayfield, Love, Goff. They all win a Super Bowl with this Seattle Seahawks team right now. I take Williams. I take Daniels. Williams and Daniels, more upside than Sam Darnold. They showed more in this league in the first 2 years of their career. All of these quarterbacks, listen, look, put the camera on me. All 8 of these quarterbacks, if the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, they win the Super Bowl. And most of these quarterbacks, if they're the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, they beat the New England Patriots worse than they won with Sam Darnold. Now, I get it. Sam Darnold, I believe in him. He's a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. The last 2 years have been phenomenal. This is not a knock on Sam Darnold. This is, if I'm drafting these quarterbacks in the NFC, I take all of them before I take him.
Okay, so there's a lot there. Let's define now in terms of taking QBs over Sam Darnold. Right now, next 3 years, next 5 years. Because there's a way of doing this. Like right now, you would not take Jaden Daniels simply because of the fact that Jaden Daniels has been banged up recently. What's interesting about defining the draft part is I know Vegas East, CP3, Cam Pratt, has an issue with the idea that we're doing this today. Like, in other words, we're not letting the Sam Darnold celebration breathe. So before we start ranking, Cam, explain your thought on how you're annoyed, not at Ryan, but at the overall concept. Nice to see you, Pat. The overall concept of this conversation 2 days after this man wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think part of it is bringing this up, but part of it is it just seems like an immediate discrediting of a guy who has reached the peak that you can reach in like maybe all 4 professional sports. We think of the Super Bowl as like the highest of highs to, 10 hours after that be like, well, that was great, but here's like half the league that I think is better than him. Just seems like I understand we have to have these conversations and I'm fine responding to people having opinions on that, but it just seems like an immediate like switchback of, all right, he did all this stuff, great. Let's find a way to, throw him under the bus and say all these guys are better or would have been better or just as good with them on the team.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys he mentioned are better than Sam Darnold in theory. And I think a lot of the guys he mentioned should be better than Sam Darnold. I think the fact that Sam Darnold over the last 2 years is 31-7 with his two teams, and I believe in quarterback win-loss, even though it's not directly impacted, only impacted by the quarterback. I think there is something to that. The teams being successful when a certain player is their starting quarterback. I believe in that. I mean, there are guys that I would definitely take over. Matthew Stafford, you have to say you would take over him. The guy won the MVP. He's borderline Hall of Famer, right? If you're going to go for the next 5 years or beyond, maybe you're going to take Caleb in that spot, right? Because of his early success in year 2 with Ben Johnson. I, small as you know, love Brock Purdy, and I think Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. The reality is Sam Darnold just went flawless in the postseason, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and his team won the Super Bowl. And in the biggest of games against a really good defense was asked to just manage the game, and not every quarterback can manage the game. The game manager is a compliment, not an insult, and Sam has the ability to throw for 300 yards, but in that specific game, they said to him, don't give them the ball because they're waiting for you to give them the ball, and he didn't do that. And that, to me, turned me a little bit in his favor of, like, I didn't know that you had that in you.
Okay, I'm a little confused, Dev, because I remember this time last year, maybe even this particular show last year, you were highly offended that people were trying to still discount Jalen Hurts and everything that Jalen Hurts had accomplished. You said all the guy does is win. I don't even care about skill set. All the guy does is win. He's a team first guy. He puts everybody above himself. He is the first to lift others up. We went back to him getting benched at halftime of the national championship game at Alabama in favor of Tua.
Right.
And we said we should have known that this guy had the mental makeup. He has what it takes to be a champion. And you're not going to apply all of that to Sam Darnold, that he doesn't have the mental toughness and resilience that it takes in order to win. We just saw it on perhaps the biggest scale in NFL history. You talk about Jalen Hurts, all he does is win. You mentioned Sam Darnold, 31-7 over the past 2 seasons. Most win for any quarterback during that span. That's more than Josh Allen, MVP of last year. That's more than your boy Jalen Hurts, who won a Super Bowl last year. So why are we not applying the exact same thought process that we did about people discounting Jalen Hurts last year as we are to Sam Darnold right now?
That's easy because we've seen Sam Darnold lose a lot. Because when you say that Jalen Hurts, all he does is win, that literally is all he does. Sam Darnold, in the last 2 years, since he's become this version of himself, which kudos to him, he is insanely improved over the course of where he started. We can't do these Sam Darnold, all he does is win. We have to add the caveat of all he does is win over the last 2 years.
All he does is win when he's with a functional franchise and a good head coach that puts him in an advantageous position to win those games. Let's not pretend like Jalen Hurts is not in any way impacted by being with the Philadelphia Eagles. What would his career have looked like had he been drafted by the Jets? What would his career have looked like if his next stop was the Carolina Panthers, who were very dysfunctional at that time? That's what I'm trying to get at here. We're talking about Sam Darnold being a catalyst in a lot of ways for the Seattle Seahawks to go on and win a Super Bowl. If that's the case, don't we also have to acknowledge that part of the reason that we didn't believe in him is because he was stuck in football purgatory with the Jets
but then
and
let's
with
run
the Panthers?
Through it, though, Smalls. Let's run through it. For the next 3, let's happy medium, we'll call it 3 years, okay? So not 5 is then when you get to the Caleb Jaden territory. 1 is where you're saying definitively Stafford, right? Like, and which you still may say. Next 3 years, just quick answers. Sam Darnold or Dak Prescott?
Darnold.
Sam Darnold or Jalen Hurts?
I'd probably go Jalen.
Okay. Sam Darnold or Jaden Daniels?
Darnold.
Caleb
I'm concerned
Williams.
about Daniels and the injuries.
Sam Darnold or Jaden Daniels? Did I say that? Caleb Williams, excuse me.
Ooh. This one's tough because I think about the caveat, Caleb Williams with Ben Johnson, but then I also have to think about Sam Darnold with McDonald, who obviously isn't on the offensive side of the ball, but is clearly an elite tactician.
Right. All right, we can do a push on that one.
I think ultimately I'll go Darnold and McDonald because they've been there, done that.
Goff.
Darnold.
Jordan Love.
Love.
That's the one that I don't understand, but we can come back to that.
I think that he is so underrated. I think we have gone so far the other direction with Jordan Love.
I don't think there's anybody in the NFC South that you could take over Darnold right now.
No.
I know that Ryan brought up Baker Mayfield, but like Sam Darnold is better at being Baker Mayfield than Baker Mayfield is. The journeyman quarterback finding a home, leading to the team's success, and being a catalyst as to why Sam Darnold, if you're going to categorize those people, which Baker would be a part of, Geno Smith previously, and what Tua and Kyler Murray are going to hope to do, et cetera, et cetera. Like Darnold is the captain of that team, so I don't know how we take Baker over him. And Stafford, I think we both agree Stafford over Darnold.
Yes.
And I would take Purdy over him personally.
I think I'd go Darnold.
So you have definitively over Darnold, you have Stafford and Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts. So you have him as
out of that group.
At the NFC. So you have him as the fourth best quarterback in the NFC. But even that in itself could come off, to Cam's point, as insulting 2 days after. But this is the whole point with all of this. We have never seen a quarterback in the history of the NFL have the career arc that this man has had. And thus, when we rank him against his peers, it is so abnormal, based on what we know about him, Smalls, to crown him so high up.
Okay, but what is your reasoning for picking some of these other quarterbacks over him? We know that he can win in the regular season. We know that he can be his best self on the biggest stage, as you mentioned, not only a Super Bowl champion, but flawless in the postseason.
Yep.
We know he's mentally tough. We know he's an amazing leader. What is everyone on the team saying in the wake of this? How mad they were that they had to listen to people like us doubt Sam Darnold. You have Cooper Kupp wearing an I Heart Sam Darnold t-shirt. His guys, his coaches, they love this guy. They ride for him. Can he play through injury? Yep. Oblique? No problem. I mean, what else do you want to see from this guy? What is it about some of these other guys that you're putting over him? Tell me the factor that's the tipping point here.
It's ridiculous what I'm going to tell you, but I think the subconscious for everybody is we cannot erase what we once saw, and we cannot we're not ranking what we recently saw over that. And that's wrong. I'm acknowledging that is wrong, but that's the answer in my mind to your question. The answer to many people's tax questions, Smalls, of course, is H&R Block.
That's right, Evan. Tax season is coming up, and it can be stressful.